Hey there, classic car enthusiasts. Welcome to Throwback Motors. Today we're in the garage of Long Lake Automotive with Greg Wilson, and he's going to show us what to look for when purchasing a classic car. Thanks for having me today, Greg.
Oh, good to have you here.
Great. Okay, Greg, let's dive right in. What's the first things you should check when you're looking to purchase a classic car?
I guess you want to know really the history. Had somebody else already been all through it? Is it going to have all kinds of mystery surprises? Or is it an original needing to be done or an original survivor car?
Right. And what are the main areas you should look for as far as rust?
Well, rust is the one thing that seems to me the hardest to fix.
Right.
You want to check floors. You can check inside the wheel wells, but most times a fender or a hood,
Right.
It can be had. But for under the floors, under the cowling, those are very expensive places to get repaired. And almost all cars are going to need something.
Right. Okay, great. What about the engine? What things should you check for with the engine?
Well, basically, does it even start? If it starts and it runs, then you've got something to work with.
Right.
But you can't make it fire up. When you're there looking at it, chances are you're going to be very expensive down the road. You might be looking at a whole engine rebuild. If it won't fire up, there's underlying problems.
Right. Okay. Now, is there a way you could check and see if the engine seized? Like when if it went fire up?
Yeah, that's all you really want to know is, will it turn over? If it'll turn over, almost anything can be repaired.
Right.
Almost.
Right. And should you check for any leaks anywhere underneath the vehicle, or is that?
It all depends. If you're buying a car for restoration or if you're buying one that you want to drive right away.
Yeah.
If you want one for restoration, you're going to be looking, you're going to see things that, you're going to restore it, you're going to fix it. If you want one that's just going to drive, you want to make sure that there's no oil on it.
Right.
Oil in it, but not on it.
Right.
You want to see that there's dry underneath, clean. Have they looked after it?
Yeah.
Or is it something that they needed to get rid of and they're just looking to unload it on you?
Right.
You don't want that.
And what about any bubbles and that kind of stuff on the vehicle?
Well, you'd want to have a good look around and see if you can find little areas like this where it's just got a little bit of raising in the paint. Those little bubbles there indicate that there's some moisture under there. This car, I do believe, was restored probably 15 or 20 years ago. So not bad to come back after that long. A body man would make some pretty short work of that before they painted it.
And what about the mechanical parts as far as the suspension and the brakes?
Well, if it's a running driving car and it's really for sale, most guys will be appreciative if you take it for an inspection to your trusted mechanic.
Right.
A place like Long Lake Automotive, or a place that you trust to go through that knows about an older car. We've had a number of them through where once you get it on the hoiks, it's just a nightmare.
Right.
Something way more than what the guy saw it on the side of the road, said that would be fine.
Right.
And then they bring it in and they find out why it's not so much fun. So yeah, take it in, get it mechanically inspected. If you're not the type of person that's going to be able to go through it, take it into somebody that really cares about the old car, somebody that really cares about you, really knows what you're going to run into for problems, for solutions, and that don't get into something that is going to turn you off cars forever.
Right. So let's talk about the interior. What things should you be looking for as far as the interior of the car?
Well, a lot of the different switches and buttons, they're not made anymore. Right. You want to make sure that all those things are functioning ahead of time. You might have some crucial, like a wiper switch that you can't get anymore. That was me. Can't get a wiper switch. I had to pretty much invent my own. But for somebody else, that might be harder. For mechanics, we can put things together.
Right. And what about water damage? Should water damage be?
Yeah, you definitely want to have a look under the carpets. You want to look along the firewall area.
Yeah.
Make sure that it has never been flooded.
Right.
Luckily, we don't get so many floods here, but if you're getting a car from another area, chances are it might have been a flood victim.
Right. And what about the actual like components, like the radio's not working, the different little electrical components within the car? Is that
You're almost never gonna find a replacement radio that's safe.
Right.
But you could get aftermarket ones. And you know, each one of the classic cars, they're kind of an individual call, if you will. A lot of the full-size Ford line is available from some of the remanufacturers, but there's just some odd ones that little bits and pieces you can't get anywhere. And you want to make sure that that's not something key on the car that you're looking at.
Right.
So, ask me.
So what if they're buying a vehicle, but it doesn't have any registration?
Well, there's lots of cars that people have found on their property or included when they bought a house. And way back, there was all these old cars. And hey, what? I just sell those off. Well, all a car is, it's legal property.
Right.
So it might have come on your property when you bought this old house and had this old car. But if you don't have the actual title to the car, you don't have any right to sell it.
Right.
So you could sell it, I could fix it, and then the real owner come along, thanks for fixing my car.
Right.
So you want to make sure if it's got no registration, there's services available for that, but you got to go through ICBC. There are some entities out there that will help you make sure that it's a vehicle you can own legally. But yeah, it's a bit of a challenge.
Right.
If you want to avoid challenges, have one that's already documented and registered in BC.
Right. Great. Thanks, Rick. Those tips are invaluable for anybody that's looking to purchase a classic car. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a very rewarding group of people to be around that have all the classic cars. It's very rewarding to have going down the street and people see a car they haven't seen in 20, 30 years. It's pretty fun to see the smiles that they put on people's faces.
Right. So that concludes another episode of Throwback Motors. Don't forget to make any comments, likes, and shares. And don't forget to hit that follow button on Facebook and the subscribe button on YouTube if you want to see more videos of classic car rides. Thank you.